Welcome to the Miami Heat Zone podcast. I'm your host, Martel Llewellyn. Guys, we're pushing to 4,000 subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and thank you for all the support. So today we have a great guest on the show. It's Amir from Team to Beat Miami Heat, and this is going to be our third episode for the Heat Chronicles. So Amir, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Can't complain. How are you?
Good, man. So today we're going to be talking about some of the point guards that the Miami Heat can go after. Because when you really think about it, we don't really know who's going to be on this roster starting next season. You know, Terry could be in a trade, Duncan could be in a trade, Tyler could be in a trade, and we really don't have a backup point guard. You know, so who are some of the point guards that you're trying to look after, you know, on this free agent market?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, again, we have to look at the bottom of the barrel. We have no money. So I'm not going to say John Morant, even though he's not a free agent this season, but there's a top echelon type of guys that we can't get. We have simply no salary space for that. So for a backup point guard, which we don't have right now, because DeLon Wright, Patty Mills are free agents as well. So I'm going to exclude them from the list, even though I do like DeLon and he played good end of the year and obviously against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. He had a good showing. But if we have to look at like a veteran minimum player that I think that the Miami Heat could look at, one player that I was noticing that stood out was Payne. He's not the greatest option, but again, all these guys are going to be going for the veterans minimum. So Payne is a unrestricted free agent. He's 29 years old, about to turn 30. Played with the Sixers most recently, and the Bucks also last season. And he was making 2.8 million. So super affordable. He is kind of a journeyman at this point in his career. He's played for 6 different teams, but he is a capable and still athletic and quick-footed point guard. And he averaged 9 points per game, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and shot 38% from 3 on 4.4 attempts. And he shot 90% from the free throw line. So he's not, again, the splashiest name out there, and none of these guys are going to be, but he is someone who is capable of shooting the three and getting to the rim to a certain degree. He's not the greatest floor general. I mean, his best season, he did average, I think it was on the Suns. He was playing behind Chris Paul. He averaged 11 points and 5 assists per game, which is not too bad, but he's not going to be that true floor general point guard, which is fine. We don't necessarily need that. We need someone that could put the ball in the basket, essentially. The Miami Heat have been one of the worst offensive teams in the last few years, ranked 27th in points per game. He's someone who is ignitable and can hit some threes and spread the floor and give us some points off the bench from that position. And that's one guy that, pops up. Another guy, again, slim pickings, not a lot out there for the vets minimum, but another guy who has been kind of linked or associated to the Miami Heat is Dennis Smith Jr. And he's actually younger than I thought he was. Like, he's been in the league for like 9 years now, or 7 years now, excuse me. He's only 26 years old, and he was on the Brooklyn Nets. He's an unrestricted free agent. I think he made 3 million. No, not even 2.5 million last year. So hopefully we could still get him for under 3 million. I think once you're a 10-year NBA vet, then you make the minimum, or the maximum minimum is 3.2 million or so. So he's only been in the league for 7 years. So I think we still can get him under 3. And this would be essentially like a reclamation project. Like, he started off his career in Dallas, went to the Knicks, and then has been on multiple teams now, every single season. But he started off his rookie year like 15 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, a steal per game. Was pretty dynamic, like was quick, obviously high flyer, athletic for his size. And then his, stats have dwindled ever since, and he's been a journeyman. And he's been injury prone too. He only played 56 games last season. But with the Nets, in limited time, I mean, he averaged 7 points per game, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. The only issue with Dennis Smith Jr. is his shooting percentage. He shot 29% from 3. So this would be like a guy who I think, who would he be like? Who would I he's kind of like Russell Westbrook in a sense. I know that was someone we were going to talk about Off air, we were talking about that, but um, I think he could be a good option. He's still young, like he's a good defender to a certain degree, and um, he's really athletic, and that's something we really lack. Once we lose Caleb Martin, excuse me, he was a pretty much one of our most athletic, or if not athletic, guys behind Bam Adebayo on this team, right? So that could be a decent reclamation project. Getting him into the Miami Heat system and our organization could be intriguing. So, what are your thoughts? I know, we talked about Russell off camera.
We have to, bro. We definitely have to give another look at Russell Westbrook because, you know, I know a lot of people are gonna say he's trash or whatever the case may be, or that he's washed. But people have to realize we have no room to say that, hey, well, we want this point guard or this point guard. We don't have that option. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we need a guy that can come in, hustle, just be a good playmaker and play well in Eric Spoelstra's system. And I honestly think that Westbrook, especially how he was willing to come off the bench for the Clippers, I don't think he'll have the same, big issue with coming off the bench here. We need Russell Westbrook on this team. I don't want to see Drew Smith. Why would we want to see Drew Smith when we have real NBA talent in Russell Westbrook or Dennis Smith Jr.? I didn't even realize that he's really that young, 25 years old. We have
26.
to take a
Yeah.
yeah, 26 years old. We have to take a look at him. He's another guy that was drafted, I think, by the Dallas Mavericks, but he just slipped through the cracks. Those two guys should at least one of them should be on our roster next year. We cannot let NBA talent slip away. I want to see Eric Spoelstra coach NBA talent. That's my biggest thing. I want to see NBA talent. I don't want to see a bunch of guys that are on the roster and then they don't play. They just sit there. Jamal Cain's been on our roster too long. Cole Swider, like Alonnis Williams. Yeah, they're good project names, but let's bring in some type of NBA veteran guys who know their role. They don't have to prove themselves. They have their confidence. Let them come in. They're going to be hungry. They want to prove to the league that they can still play. And this is the one organization or one of the few that can actually give them the playing time. Because yeah, they're going to be, they'll go to all these contenders or they might go to all these other teams, but they won't have the opportunity to play anywhere else but the Miami Heat because we have roster issues.
Yep. I mean, Westbrook's got a player option, so he has to obviously opt out for him to become available. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's going to opt out, or like I thought he was going to wait until Paul George either resigns or leaves before he makes that decision, right? Because we know one key factor with Russell Westbrook is he wants to win a championship before he retires. He's already got his MVPs, regular season MVPs, and the next trophy that he wants is an NBA championship. He's 35 years old, so he's only getting older. And I think he's going to have that fire. He already has that motor. He's already been pretty durable like for his entire career. So, I mean, he played 70, I think he played like 68 or 70 games last season, which would have been like the third most on the Miami Heat. And he would have been the second oldest on the team, maybe, or even the oldest, actually. Jimmy Butler is 34, technically. Jimmy Butler's going to be 35 in September when the season starts. So I think that could be a good fit. But do you think he's going to stay or not? Do you think it's depending on the Paul George thing, too?
I think it just depends on the team in general. I mean, they really can't win. Kawhi, can't stay healthy. I think that if Paul George leaves, he's probably gone too. But once again, there were some small rumors saying that he wasn't really happy and he wants more playing time and stuff like that. So once again, this is the team for him. People have to realize like we need NBA guys on this roster because whenever we're playing all these other teams, who's those Heat killers that are beating us? It's not undrafted guys. It's veterans. Nick
Nick
Batum,
Batum.
T.J. Warren, all these veterans that are across the NBA, they're the ones that are beating us. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not saying go out and go sign a bunch of old guys, but have some type of NBA veterans on this roster. And I think outside of maybe one or two guys, like that have been on this roster, we really haven't signed any like big NBA vets out. Maybe outside of Kevin Love.
What do you mean, bro? Dwayne Dedman, Cody Zeller, Patty Mills. Like, what are you
They're
talking about?
okay. They're okay. They're okay. But I'm talking about guys who are going to make an impact. You see what I'm saying? Guys who are going to actually come in and get good minutes. Spo's not just going to like abandon them after the first 2 weeks of basketball. No, we need a decent role players around our guys.
I agree.
So guys, listen, that's all that we have for today. Make sure that you guys go to Amir's channel, Get him to 2,000 subscribers. Same thing. Come to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and thank you for all the support.